Good afternoon, everybody. It's 12:03 on March 22nd, 2024. This is a special meeting of the Kentucky State Board of Elections. I'm Michael Adams, the Secretary of State of Kentucky and Chief Election Official and Chair of the Board. I'm going to call us to order with a roll call. I'll call on you as I see you in order on the big screen here. Member Perry.
Sue Carol Perry, Shelby County.
Member Griggs.
Julie Griggs, member, McCracken County.
Member Skolnick.
Corey Skolnick, member, Jefferson County.
Member Sears.
Dwight Sears, member, Pulaski County.
Member Brangers.
Deanna Brangers, member, Jefferson County.
Member Johnson.
Jerry Johnson, member, Franklin County.
Member Chandler.
Ben Chandler, member, Woodford County.
Well, thank you all for attending. We have a full roster today and a quorum, and we'll proceed to our business. Our first item is to approve the draft minutes of our last meeting on March 1st. I had two changes on page 1, the bottom paragraph, third line. If we could change interstate contact to interstate compact. And then also 4 words later, we need a semicolon after the word information. If we don't have that, it changes the meaning of the sentence. But that's all I saw, if that's agreeable to everybody. Do we have a motion to approve those two changes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Thank you. Do we have all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay, so the primary reason for this special meeting is so that we can promptly certify election results from 2 special elections that we had this week to fill vacancies in the House of Representatives. And so in your packet, we have those election results. In the 24th district, the totals were 1,025 votes for Courtney Gilbert, 372 votes for John Pennington, and 244 votes for Craig Astor. In the 26th district, we had 75 votes for Peyton Griffey, and those were the only votes that were counted, that were cast. And so I'd like a motion to approve those results, certification of those results, so we can notify the winners.
So moved. Second.
Now, see, that's the kind of groupthink you have when you have a board that is served together for so long. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. Next, number 4, we have ratification of replacements to county boards of elections. We have a new Republican in Callaway County, and we have a new Democrat in Campbell County. Karen, can you walk us through these?
Okay, I'll be brief on this. In Callaway County, their Republican member is temporarily stepping down. He will be out of town for the next couple of months due to family issues. And so they have presented a list of 5 names for a temporary replacement through the end of May. And the top name on the top of the list is Matthew Reck. Let me go ahead and do the second one.
Yeah, let's do them both. We'll do that.
And then the second one is Campbell County is a replacement for their Democrat member that has resigned. And we recommend Paul Wayland, who is the replacement as the Democrat member on the Campbell County Board of Elections. He is the member at the top of the list as well. And SBE recommends those for ratification.
Okay, thanks. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Okay, number 5, approval of additional precinct officers for the May 21st primary election in Boone County.
Each election, Boone County does make this request for one additional precinct officer, deputies, at each of their precincts. It's actually, they have 64 precincts, but they're requesting 48 because they consolidated this year. So, but they have submitted the appropriate paperwork and they're just trying to get a jump start so they can get these things assigned by the election. So we recommend approval of their request.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it. Next we have our financial report. Are you going to give that, Karen, or is Rachel?
Well, Rachel is in class
Okay.
this week. So she always wants to make sure you get the financial report, even, just to even view it. She sent me some notes, but yet we still delay it to have it approved at the next meeting. And given my voice, I think if you're okay, we'll just let her give her notes about the February financials at the April meeting, if that's okay.
Is that agreeable to everyone? We'll just table this until the April meeting.
Good
We'll
with
just
me.
skip it for now. Okay. Okay, well, you're still up then for number 8, Karen. If you
Okay,
would like-
well,
No, I'm so sorry. Next we have our draft administrative regulation. Should I go to Taylor
goes
to
to
that? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I'm in a different position today, so I'm a little unique trying to look at the screen and look at my computer. But you all should have gotten an email the other day with some draft language for some administrative regulations that we'd like to get promulgated. And I put a little summary of each in there for you. And I'll just go through that really quick again. But there's 6 of them. The first one is an amendment to the reg titled Preparation of Ballots and Voting Systems prior to Election Day. And what that does is it requires the vendors that the counties work with to send SBE a digital file once the ballots are certified so that our IT team can program the election night reporting website that we use. And then it defines what that file is. So the IT guys worked with me on that one to craft that language for what they needed it to be. The next one is a repromulgation. We already had this one. It's the electronic voter registration system. And so what it does is it reapproves the procedures for VRS. And it also establishes a new, we forever have called them registration cards in Kentucky because they've been about the size of half a sheet of a paper. Through NASED and other things we've gone to, we've seen that the trend from other states is kind of to move away from the card and move towards an actual whole sheet of paper that makes it a little clearer for the voter to see what they're doing in filling out the card. So I included a draft of that in there as well. We got some feedback from the clerks that said they still liked having the little for clerks use only section that the card has. So we'll probably add that to there for the clerks. But everything that's on the old card is on this one. With the exception of we added 2 things there at the bottom that it says it's optional. It's totally optional. One box the registrant could check says, I would like to be contacted by my county clerk about becoming a poll worker in Kentucky. So the thought is that could help in recruitment of poll workers. And the second box says, I authorize the Kentucky State Board of Elections to send the information contained on this form to the appropriate voter registration officer who shall have my authorization to cancel my voter registration from my former state of residence. And they would list whatever former address that had in another state. So we get some of those from other states. And so just trying to be, you know, a good partner with our other sister states, we thought that'd be a good addition to have. And that wouldn't be anything for the clerks extra. We would handle that. NASA provides us a list for all 50 states of who in each state handles voter removals, so we know who to contact. And so we would just forward that information to the appropriate state.
Can I ask a couple questions real
Sure.
fast?
Yeah.
So number one, the rec itself, it's still the same. It's just,
It's the
it
exact
expired
same.
and has to be
Correct.
redone.
Yeah.
And then the form is new. Is the form applicable to the website also? Anything that was approved today, does that go to the website?
Yeah.
Plus the form?
Correct. We would have the form. One, it would be fillable. If somebody wanted it on the website, they could, if they wanted to fill out, you know, this and then print out the actual form, take it to their clerk's office, they could do that. If they wanted to do online registration through our website, every question that would be on this form would still be online. Yep. There's any other questions? Can answer them or I can keep going. The next one is recount procedures. It would be a new regulation. And what that is it's the same procedures that we approved for last year's general if we were going to get into the automatic recount, but now it's just to encompass any situation where we could have a statutory recount, such as after a primary, after a general. Or interestingly, we didn't have this, and knock on wood, we won't have this situation come up, but there's also a statute for recounts of constitutional amendments. And that is one of the things that this tweaks from what we did last year. It adds, that statute says that every ballot in the state for a constitutional amendment recount needs to go to the courthouse at Frankfort. And so we added, I mean, I can't imagine all those ballots showing that. Courthouse is nice, but I don't know that they've got room for all that. So we tweaked it to add that there's language that the Franklin County Clerk would assist the Franklin Circuit Judge in finding a suitable location, assuming the judge didn't want to try to do it in his courtroom. And then it also, Heather and Jenny and Secretary helped us with the language last year about clerks reporting through their 49 forms online. And I think it's great that we have that online now, but the old evil successor, 10 years from now, if we have a secretary that doesn't want to do it online for whatever reason, I didn't want to hamstring the clerks into having to do something online that wasn't available. So we just changed it to say, if that is available, they do it that way. So, but other than that, it's what we passed, the three of us, the SBE, SOS, and KCCA last in preparation for last November. Then we've got an amendment to one that already exists called reporting forms. And if you look at the existing one, it's just a list of pursuant to KRS, turn this form in. So we're looking at tweaking whatever we need to do to tweak forms, to language needs to be updated, statute numbers need to be updated, that kind of thing. But it also establishes it puts into reg, not into statute, but into reg, that we will have our election night reporting platform as what the statute says is the secure online transmission, that we have to develop such a platform. So this formally gives birth, and this is where that would live. So we would have the ENR platform in this one, and it also would require that the ENR platform show all the votes minus the provisional votes on election night. So that's that one.
Hello.
Sorry.
Someone have a question?
Next one is an amendment to one that we passed after COVID, because it largely deals with the mail-in absentee ballots. And what we did here was just kind of tighten up the security around that. So it requires that there's a statute where if somebody doesn't get their mail-in absentee ballot, they can request another one from the clerk. In that scenario, this would require that you don't just reissue the same barcode ballot, so you don't have two barcodes floating around that are the same. The second ballot it'd be required to have a unique barcode, so you could track which one was actually the first issue, which one was actually the second issue, and that's in practice. That's how we do it, but we just wanted to put it on the books as that is the official procedure. The 71 and 72 forms that were in this regulation, part of our voter ID bill that Secretary worked on, it said, you know, you have these forms, the 71 to 72, if you had a problem with your ID or if the election officer knew you or something like that. That was in this one, but I thought it might be better to put it in this new regulation that we've got, which is the next and last one I was going to talk about. It's a new one called Questions Regarding Voter Eligibility. And because those forms deal with a scenario where someone's eligibility is called into play, we moved those forms over there. And another instance where voters' eligibility might be questioned would result in them signing the supplemental signature roster. This says that supplemental signature rosters would be contained in the poll books. So we're moving away from the paper to make everything inside the poll books that we all use now. Unless there's a provision there, if there's a documented emergency, they can use paper. For example, in Jefferson County last year, in the general, there was a power outage that affected some precincts. This would allow them to use paper in that kind of scenario. And finally, this is something that we added that is new, that it would allow, because we've expanded the days of voting so much with the days that the absentee portal's open. We've got the 6-day excuse, the 3-day no excuse, and election day. For county boards that would need to be, you know, if somebody wants to have a hearing before the county board, they're authorized to do that. So this would allow the county boards to meet via teleconference like we're doing right now, subject to the open meeting statutes. One thing that is different that I worked on yesterday from the language I gave you previously, we floated these by the clerks at the KCCA meeting yesterday, kind of basically giving them a summary like I'm giving you right now. And we thought that on that one, after hearing what the clerks had to say, right now that in that proposed regulation, the draft language for 5040, section 3 stops after paren A. And so the draft as I have it now would add a paren B that says if a county board of elections elects not to meet via video teleconference during a day in which voting may occur, a voter desiring to appear before the county board shall be provided with an option so that the voter may appear before the county board via teleconference, provided that the voter can make themselves available via the same teleconferencing technology the county board has chosen to utilize for such hearings. So the hypothetical here, what this would add is, you know, the paren A was allowing the county board to set up a Zoom or a Teams or something like that. But this is saying, you know, we use Jefferson again as an example. If the Jefferson County Board wants to meet in person, but there's a voter that wants to have a hearing, instead of requiring the voter to drive downtown or hop on the bus or otherwise get a ride, it would allow, if they can provide their own way to video teleconference with the board, they would be able to do that. So that's the only change to the whole packet, is that additional language. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I've got a question on the last one. I don't think we have a hard copy of the version as amended.
No,
Would you just
for email
reread
Sure.
Section B?
Sure. section B right now says if a county board of, so just, I guess, back up for those that don't have it in front of you. A says, should a county board of elections elect to meet via video teleconference during a day in which voting may occur, county clerk's office and each voting location in use in the county shall have technology available to every voter so that the voter may appear before the county board at no financial expense to the voter. So that's, A is saying if the board wants to meet via Zoom, or let's just say Zoom, via Zoom, the voter who wants a hearing won't be required to somehow produce, if they don't have a cell phone, if they don't have a computer, the voting location would have that available to them. So it's no cost to the voter. So B is the flip side. If the board wants to meet in person, but the voter can't get to wherever the board is, it would allow them to telephonically appear before the county board. And it says, if a county board of elections elects not to meet via video teleconference during a day in which voting may occur, a voter desiring to appear before the county board shall be provided with an option so that the voter may appear before the county board via teleconference, provided that the voter can make themselves available via the same teleconferencing technology the county board has chosen to utilize for such hearings. So saying that the voter can zoom in again, I guess, or Teams or WebEx or whatever, on their phone if they don't want to travel downtown or whatever. But then it's more of a luxury, I guess, for the voter at that point. So they have to, it's not the free setup at the polling location. The voter has to be able to make that.
So the board is not meeting via video, but there's still a right to appear.
They would be in person, but they would have available a screen and the voter.
It'd be like this.
Correct, exactly.
Okay.
So does the voter then have to initiate the Zoom
In the B.
in the B?
scenario,
Yes.
Yeah. So
Okay.
if the board is meeting in person and you don't or can't get to where they are, then the onus is on you to add that Zoom or Teams or WebEx or whatever. Whatever the board is, whatever platform they've chosen to use. So if there's no other questions, I at this point, I've got to get them all, exactly in the format that LRC wants them. They usually have some tweaks for the formatting and that. So I would ask for a motion to approve these subject to any non-substantive edits that LRC may require.
We'll take them all up at once.
Yeah, that's.
Do we have a motion to approve all of these 6 as proposed?
So move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so for discussion, so I think part of what you have to give the LRC is a basis in the statute for each of these, right? What is the basis for this last one? Are we citing to the Open Meetings Act or?
Yeah, I've got 117.015 that says, that's the one that says state board can promulgate administrative regulations necessary to administer the election laws, and then 61.826 is the open meeting statute.
So I think this is good policy. I just want to make sure that we have this tethered in the law and that we have the ability to basically create open meetings requirements for the county boards. Is that your understanding?
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily, I guess it's options as opposed to, I can see what you're saying about requirements. But yeah, I think given the 015 that we can do that, yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. So what's the process now? You'll finalize these and then they'll go, these are emergency regs, right? So they'll go to the governor?
Yeah, so I've got, the number, first thing you have to do is ask LRC, are these numbers even okay? And so they've signed off on the numbers, and then they'll get them all, either I'll give them to them today or Monday, and, I'm imagining, I mean, they got a great staff over there, but I'm imagining it might take them a couple of days just because it's 6 regs. Once we get them back from LRC, we'll send them over to the governor's office, and then April 15th is the next filing deadline. So I think that gives us.
All right, thank you. Okay, Karen, your report.
And again, I'll be brief with, don't have a lot to report exactly. The one thing I did want to say is between now and the next meeting, the absentee portal opens on April 6th. But there's no other real deadlines coming before we end up at our next meeting. I'll believe it on April 19th. And we're just continuing to prep for the election, helping the clerks where we can. You know, we've got, did some training yesterday on some of the things. Our Keith Miller does a great job here. He is on here, but he goes, and I think the clerks appreciate him trying to help them walk through some other things. Particularly, we have one clerk that's not been through an election at all. So anything we can do to try to facilitate that for them. And then, of course, we've been watching some of the election legislation, and so far I haven't found anything to be gone through both houses and to the governor yet. It's still all in process. Veto recess starts next Friday, I think. So I'm just going to conclude so y'all don't have to listen to my voice. Tabitha will probably have a few things to say.
Any questions or comments for Karen? Okay, Tabitha, floor is yours.
Thank you, Secretary. So first, on behalf of KCCA, I want to thank the Secretary, his staff, the State Board of Elections, and their staff for providing really useful training to us yesterday at the monthly KCCA meeting. We were fortunate enough to have partners from CISA and the FBI there, as well as Karen mentioned, Keith and Taylor present to us. And it was very beneficial to hear from, you know, not only our partners at the State Board of Election, but specifically our partners in security surrounding the upcoming elections and what we can best be prepared for as we move towards the presidential general election. So on behalf of KCCA, thank you very much for supporting our endeavors to train our members. We had a great group of clerks there yesterday and deputy clerks. It was one of our highest attended that we've had recently for a monthly meeting. Our conferences in the summer and the fall are always very well attended, but sometimes our monthly meetings, specifically in March, because of what we see on the motor vehicle side of the office, tend to be one of our lower turnouts, and we did not experience that yesterday. So really appreciate both the Secretary's office and the State Board stepping up and providing really useful training to us. And allowing us to provide feedback on the forms. Taylor was very gracious in allowing us to add our 2 cents, and that's always important to keep the local voice involved in the decision-making process, which is one of the reasons that I'm so appreciative of our retired clerks on the call that can lend their experience, and then having the current president on the call as well. So we're all getting prepared. We have sample ballots that are being, our ballot proofing is underway. Most of our clerks have turned in all of their ballot quantities and are getting machines set. So things are moving right along in the election space for the county clerks. We anticipate all of our machines to be inspected by our County Board of Elections prior to the deadline that's forthcoming. So we're in the right spot for the time of where we are in elections. Just keep us in your thoughts as we move to the end of March with the CAVUS implementation and with the demands that are on the county clerks in March. It's certainly can be a very hectic and stressful time for county clerks across the Commonwealth during this time. I presented to the Magistrates Association a couple weeks back, and just to give you an idea, in February we send out just over 100,000 renewal cards. In February, it's about 200,000. In March, it's almost 1 million. It's a few hundred shy of 1 million renewal cards. So that's the volume increase that we see in the county clerk's office in March, which is why it's such a stressful time for us. So any help that the state board can lend to us in getting prepared, we're always gracious and accepting of the assistance that they provide to us, and grateful for it. So I appreciate the time. I'm happy to take any questions if anybody has any.
Any questions or comments for Tabitha? Okay, thanks a lot. So we need to go into closed session to discuss any litigation and a security matter. And then that's all we have left. And then we'll adjourn until our regular meeting, the 16th of April. So I'll go ahead and confirm that is the third Tuesday, April 16th, 2024 at 10 a.m. That's the morning after Sunny Die. Do we have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.